Lord, we need more people like this Minnesota State Senator standing up for what is right. God bless him.
Follow up?
Thank you, Chair. And I'd like to express my sincere appreciation to the librarians in the room. In my childhood was very unorganized and oftentimes dangerous, and I found the local libraries to be a very great opportunity to find some safety and some knowledge, and I really appreciate the help of the librarians who helped far beyond just suggesting books. But to that age-appropriate question and to what we want to invest in for our culture, I guess I look at some of the books that we're seeing commonly implemented in our libraries. We see, I actually went this morning and found This Book is Gay from some of our local libraries. Many of the libraries that testified here today do have it in stock on their shelves, recommended in the teen section as young as 12 years old. And this book, among other things, it recommends to young children how to flirt in gay bars. It recommends to children how to enter into non-consensual sexual relationships. And I'll read here. Oral sex is popping another dude's peen in your mouth or intending or indeed popping yours and his. There's only one way, hard and fast rule when it comes to jobs. Watch the teeth. And then it goes on to say that letting any guy in your mouth is safe sex.
Okay.
No.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Oh, this isn't appropriate for this committee?
We don't need to read items that actually, it's not the things that you're reading that are inappropriate. You got your clippable moment. Maybe we can just move on.
It just seems absurd that this is appropriate for a 12-year-old, but not for the senators in this committee, but I will take it.
You don't read stuff.
She said you don't read stuff.
Go make your point at a microphone out there.
Thank you.
Madam
Thank you,
Chair.
both of you.
Madam Chair.
Westland, let's take it down here. We next have...
What a mess. Now, just in case you didn't know, this book was already removed from multiple libraries. Listen to this.
Hey, Stacey. So more than 60 people signed up to speak at today's meeting. We heard hours and hours of public comment. People very passionate on both sides of this issue. And ultimately, the school board decided to ban this book in all middle schools.
Good.
More than 60 people signing up to speak at today's special board meeting about the book called This Book is Gay. It explores a number of topics, including stereotypes and coming out.
And this book has to go. I'm a grandmother, and I don't want my grandchild reading this book.
Advocates say it was written to help young people who are beginning to explore their sexuality. Some fear banning books sets a bad precedent.
I may not agree with the content, but others might, and how is it my decision to choose what is to be read and what is not?
Others believe the book is not age appropriate. And in the end, the board voted 4-3, agreeing with parents that the book does not belong in any Hillsborough County middle schools.
For us to have a book that is so sexually explicit in the hands of children, of minors, that is what is upsetting to me and concerning to me.
The books pulled off the shelves are 2 of 65 titles the district is reviewing for what it calls sexualized content, meaning more book bans could be coming soon. The book is one of 2 the district is no longer allowing in its libraries. The other is This Book is Gay. They are the first 2 books to be banned under the district's controversial policy restricting what it calls inappropriate nudity and sexual content. We found both titles at Doylestown Bookshop. In response to the ban, the district said in a statement in part, as outlined by the policy guidelines, our school librarians will now work to select 2 books on the same subject matter to replace each of these books on shelves for students. Action News talked to other people in the school community in favor of the ban. They would not go on camera, but said they believe the books are inappropriate for kids. The 6ABC data team analyzed book bans across the country and found Pennsylvania is in the top 3 states for banning books.
It's an example of a book that will be banned from Iowa schools under Governor Reynolds' new education bill. Sioux City School Administration removed it this spring, saying the contents posed a, quote, safety concern for students. The author, a transgender woman, jokingly calls it an instruction manual for LGBTQ teens.
It really is aimed at youngish teenagers.
Susan Craig, a retired Iowa City librarian, chaired the committee that reviewed the book for Iowa City schools. She says much of it reads like a textbook on LGBTQ.
It interjects a few jokey kinds of side comments and things like that, but it's basically facts. There's biology there's history, So a lot of information.
The majority of the book covers basic questions teens in the LGBTQ spectrum might have. What is gender and sexuality? The biology behind it, dealing with hate, and the fear of coming out. But chapters 8 and 9 garner most of the outrage. Chapter 8, Where to Meet People Like You, includes a guide to sex apps and gay bars to meet intimate partners, but also warns of the dangers of online dating and hookup apps. Chapter 9, The Ins and Outs of Gay Sex, even comes with a graphic warning from the author. It includes graphic details of pleasure zones and descriptions of sex acts and how to perform them. Critics, mostly conservative and religious groups, call it pornographic and inappropriate for teens. But a CDC study found about 1 in 4 kids had sex by the time they turned 16. And Craig says that makes a book like this age-appropriate in her mind.
If a child comes to a parent and says, you know, I wonder about these things. I have a friend who just told me they were gay. I don't know what that means. What is a transsexual? This is a book that as a parent, I would have given to my teenagers.
Craig and High both liken it to standard sex education already taught in schools, which is mostly geared towards straight sex.
It's similar to how straight people, they'll learn in a class how sex works for straight people. So, and they don't teach that in a class for gay people, so how would they learn?
Iowa City Schools' curriculum for middle school sex ed includes discussions of dating, sexual peer pressure, and descriptions of different sex acts, much like what this book is gay covers. High and Craig say having a book available to answer questions teens have about sex is better than the alternative, sending teens online.
Young people have very good access to the internet, and I fear that's where they will turn. And there are bad people on the internet, and there is a lot of misinformation on the internet.
Craig says she could see schools setting some limits on who has access to the book, like making it part of a class curriculum or only available with a counselor's supervision.
I read that book when I was in middle school.
Sid High said This Book is Gay was a resource for him as he discovered his identity as a transgender man.
If it makes you uncomfortable, that's your decision. You don't have to have your kids read that book if you do not want to.
High acknowledges parents are justified to feel uncomfortable, but worries banning books like this takes away help for teens who need it.
When you're a parent, regardless on if it's straight or gay, you don't want your kids to be reading about anything sexual at all. But also, if you're in the closet and you don't know how this works and you don't want to ask your parents because you don't know how they feel, you aren't going to have that resource.
The Iowa City School District's review committee that looked at This Book is Gay included 2 students. Craig told me their insight was extremely valuable as they shared that middle school students are talking about sex already. So having a book on it is not exposing them to anything new, just answering questions they already have. Governor Reynolds' education bill, however, would ban students from serving on those review committees. It also bans any book describing or showing sex acts. That obviously includes This Book is Gay and may threaten classics like Romeo and Juliet or Gone with the Wind. That ban is set to take effect January 1st. Adam Karras, KCRG TV 9 News.
Yeah, nope, I don't care what anybody has to say. A book that exposes kids to gay bars, gay sex, and sex apps should not be allowed in a student's library. I don't care what anybody has to say. You let me know what you think about this in the comment section, and God bless this state senator for standing up for what is right. This is just wrong. God bless you and your family. Catch you on the next one.